So here's some things I discovered about papaya after growing them. I didn't really know how vigorous the growth of papaya plants is growing in my backyard, and I had planned to put these papaya plants out of my yard and put them in other places. And before you know it, within a couple months, the roots had already went through the ground, and they decided that this would be their home. And I didn't want to just rip them off the ground, especially for the first couple of years. You get a really good crop. After that, they say that certain varieties, they don't do as well after a few years. They make a nice, really pretty looking stalk. Really cool design. And then you get a nice fruit your first year. So there's not too many fruits that you can plant that you're going to get a crop your first year. And we're getting one with these papayas. A non-GMO organic variety that I had bought. And I really, I'm not a big fan of papaya, but this particular variety was really tasty. So I was like, I'm going to give it a try. And actually the fruit looks a little bit different than the mother fruit. So we're going to see how this one goes. But I've never actually had a papaya fresh, they ripen on the tree, because usually when you go to the store, when you buy papaya plants, they're green when they arrive at the store, and then they gradually yellow over time. So I'm going to let these totally ripen off the tree. We're going to try them. They're really good for your digestion. If you have any stomach issues, people claim that they help you lose weight. And another cool thing about the papaya plant is if you take one of these stalks and you rip it off, you can actually squeeze the juice. It's called papayan, and you could rub it on an abnormal growth. It, shrink one of these growths. And I noticed it was just like melting away practically. Another cool thing that I realized about the papaya is the leaves. So if you're in a system where you want to have a good leaf drop, these will leaf out. In a permaculture system, is that the leaves on the tree, they'll get brittle enough if you get a nice couple days of no rain. These leaves break up really easily, so if you want a nice leaf drop and where you don't have to use some type of machinery, you can literally break these leaves up in little pieces in a few seconds. They'll become really part of your soil pretty fast. So if you're in a permaculture system and you're in warm enough weather, it'd be good to have a few papaya plants just so you can have a breakdown of these. But if you need a fast growing tree to give shade to some other plants that you have, then this is not bad. Like if you have like some lettuce or kale that can't really do well with full sun, especially with really hot Florida sun, it's not a bad option. Oh, another update for the garden that I found was really cool are these deep pots. I don't have much space to work with, and when you kind of get confined inside of your small area, you start thinking of ways, what can you do to improve your space? And I came across these deep pots, and I really like what they can do, because imagine I'm fitting about 12 plants in here, and I'm actually giving them deeper tap roots. The design of this is making the root want to go straight down, the tap root, instead of wrapping all the way around, as in one of these other type of containers. I'm using 12 times less soil, I'm getting 12 times more space, and I'm getting deeper tap roots. So this is a pretty big deal for what I want to do. I'm probably going to buy 500 of these things, because I think I could manage that many even in this small area by just putting them inside of these pots. I just ordered 270 more of these deep pots. This is the largest one they make. It's called the D60L. The L stands for light. They also have a heavier one. Now, I think the reason for the hole in the bottom, large hole, is so you can reuse this again. So the idea is that once you believe that the taproot has already hit the bottom, you would push it through the bottom to the top, and you could reuse this all over again. I don't know how successful that is, but I'm guessing that's the reason for the large hole. And I think the way I'm doing it with the coconut fiber in the bottom will give it enough firmness to where hopefully I don't lose too many plants that way. I guess if you're worried about it, you could actually cut this, and it might even be worth it just to cut it with some scissors if you're worried about breaking up the taproot. Certain plants might need that more than others. So it's just something I'm going to have to find out later. But that's what the D60L looks like. They also have a D60H, but this is the largest Deepot that I found. So I have 270 here. I said I might even get 500, so I'm going to start off the 270, see how that does. Hopefully I'll be able to buy more of these if they work out well. So we got some mangoes growing out of here. We have some green tea, avocado, some grapefruits, some guanabanas, got some pomegranate there. But what am I most excited about is this plant here. It's called the ice cream bean. In Peru, that this plant is, the kids would go crazy. They would climb this tree and they pull out these pods, this long pod. And really, when you open up the pod, it's like vanilla cotton candy around the seeds. So I'm really thrilled to get this one. This particular variety makes a 3-foot pod. I'd love to just get hundreds of these going around. This one right here is a baby sapodilla. And another one that I'm really excited to get started is, this is the bidwillie. This is a bunya. It's a rare pine nut from Australia, and they say the dinosaurs would feast on these back in the day. It's the largest pine cone in the world. It makes a pine cone the size of a coconut, and you open it up and you get these seeds. I've tried one of these when they were delivered, and it was probably the sweetest nut I've ever had. Full of flavor. It's like a large pine nut, really sweet. Now this is interesting. This is the bidwillie that I was telling you about, the monkey puzzle fruit, also known as bunya, very popular with the Australian Aborigine. And it actually broke apart from the seed, so I didn't think there's any hope for this. But it looks like to me that a tree is popping out of that. And I thought I had lost it completely. It had broken off of this main part, so I didn't think there was that much hope for it. This bud-looking thing sticking out, that's kind of maybe where the brain of it was. So that'd be really interesting to see. This would be my first look at what the tree looks like from a sapling. I don't really have much space on my yard for it, but I'm going to find some other places where I can put them. I think these trees in Australia get up to about 60 feet tall, maybe a little taller. So they do need a lot of space. Do take some time to grow. But once they're going, you have a steady supply of pine nuts. They do take a long time to start producing. It could take anywhere from 10 to 15 years, so I'll be waiting a while, I guess. Hopefully, if not around, maybe my kids will be able to enjoy them. But that's the cool thing about planting trees, is that maybe when you're old and gray, you'll get to try some of them, and then your kids and your kids' kids, and who knows how many generations down the line will be able to feast off of your labor from several hundred years ago. Some trees will last that long. Some varieties of mangoes will. I got some carob started up here too. Really happy to get carob going. I think carob is even more important than chocolate. The taste is similar, but as far as its antiviral properties, it's really good for coughs, colds, sore throats. The taste is incredible. And another thing I'm doing this year is I got a passion fruit vines going up the fence here. And the passion fruit vine, Once it starts getting some sun, starts getting some good nutrition at the bottom, we're getting to the rainy season, the passion fruit vine can grow at least like 2 or 3 inches a day. That's how fast I've been noticing it's been growing. So I'd love to get this passion fruit vine all around the fences, maybe even grow it up some of these palm trees. Besides just putting on a nice flower, you get a really tasty fruit, maracuya. Now, one thing about these deep pots, you see that big hole in the bottom? They do come with these big holes, so if you don't put like a coarse material in the bottom, your soil is going to leak out. Conveniently for me, what I found to be awesome for my use is I just use coconut fiber. And I have so many coconuts that I'll just break some of these down, and I'll put some of this in the bottom. Works very well. So far, so good. This tree right here is a mulberry from my friend's farm, and I was taking care of his property, watering it and stuff, and they got a heavy dose of wind, blew this plant down, and so there was no roots on this. It was just cut, and it's actually starting to put out some new leaves, so thank goodness it's putting out some roots at the bottom. But it looks dead at the top, but we'll see how much of this plant will come back to life. They're pretty much known to do really well from cuttings. We tried some cuttings of some mango, but this was over about 8 days cut from the tree, and it didn't work out too well. I think you really want fresh cuttings. Check this out. Not so often you'll see some kale growing out of a coconut. That's a big guanabana. Got loads of coconuts everywhere. Passion fruit vine going out of control. Some arugula flowering. It's probably going to self-seed. Cool thing about these towers is when you have seedings, they'll usually just fall into the next one down, and you get, for the next couple months we'll get some new plants going. I just let some volunteer flowers go. Some tamarindo. Some kale that I eat about every day. I have enough greens I can eat here every day. Salad, no problem. Some green tea, mangoes, the katuk, this just goes really well. Has a lot of protein. It's not something you want to be eating a lot every day of, but it's very complimentary to a salad. The leaves taste like peanut. Some avocados from the mother tree. She's coming back really well. What I found what happens is when you get these big storms that tear off a lot of branches, it opened up this area, gave it some more light, and you start getting these new limbs coming off the tree, which is good because a lot of these limbs had broken off from prior years. So we'll get some good growth here at the bottom again. Got some potato flowering in here. Got some moringa there in the corner. And that's my compost pile. It's probably some really good soil. And I notice there's a lot of worms in that compost, so that's going to be pretty fertile stuff here. Got a lot of the Christmas pine. People, throwing away their trees. This was grinded up. I brought a lot of that in, put this on this tree. Got it all around here, actually. Breaks down pretty quickly. I didn't want it to break down right away anyway, just because I didn't want to get my feet all covered in soil, so it's good. These potatoes, I didn't really hold them up with anything, so I don't know if that could be completely the blame why they're falling over, or if maybe it's time soon to start processing some potatoes from here. This is my first time growing potatoes in about a 1.5 by 1.5 section. And I probably could have got some better productivity if I would have staked up the potatoes, so they just kind of fell over. And maybe that's why the production wasn't what I thought it might be. This is my first go around, but considering I just was taking potatoes that were already kind of expired and got some brand new potatoes out of it, and some really firm, hard potatoes. And these are actually decent size. Some of these red ones are decent size. So I'll probably just take the smaller ones, replant those, and continue the process over again. And I do have 2 other bags to work, and it seems like those are holding up a little bit better, so we'll check the productivity on those in a couple weeks. Considering I got a really nice, firm, large potato. It's my first time growing them, so happy with whatever I can get out of that. But I did learn something, that to stake them up, but it all's not lost. I'm going to plant some of these new ones out, stake those up, and hopefully we'll have even more production in the next go around. Yeah, I'll let these papayas go for a couple years, maybe a year, 2, maybe get this year's crop and maybe next year's, and then I'll probably take a few down. I expected some of these to be males. I was going to take out some of the males because they don't make fruit, but every single papaya seems to be putting out these flowers that look like they're going to be making some fruit, so we'll see. I did want to leave one male at least so it could help the pollination. But there's a lot of insect activity back here. No pesticides, no sprays, no herbicides. I don't use none of that crap. And I noticed that that might have slight bug problems. Like you might find a few leaves been eaten a little bit. But for the most part, I don't really have bug problems, bug issues. They kind of take care of each other. You know, I know I have a lot of lizards and spiders, and I think I have other predatory insects that kind of like take care of that problem. And I noticed the more diversity you have in your garden, the less issues you're going to have. Like, look, there's a ladybug right there. She's taking care of the aphids. Plus, my garden's more of a 3-dimensional garden since I have all these towers. So it's just loaded with different, I'm letting weeds come in some places. And it's kind of confusing, I think, for the insects because they don't know where to attack, actually. They'll go to one place and they don't eat everything. They'll target one specific thing. So the more diverse you have, more likability your things are going to hold up. Like, for example, I know caterpillars love these passion fruit vines. So they kind of attack the bottom, but they grow so vigorously. I'm good. Oh, I can't wait to try one of these papayas. Let you know how it tastes. So this papaya fell off the tree last night, and it still feels a little bit hard, so I'm going to give it like another day or 2, let it soften up a little bit. But it got pretty much almost yellow, turning orange off the tree, and the tree just kind of decided, hey, it's your time to drop. So before any of the bugs got it, I picked it up last night. I'm just going to give it another day or 2, and then we're going to try this papaya out. So this is the papaya that we got from the tree.
Me make a hole.
Never had a fresh one off the tree that was yellow, so we're going to find out how this looks inside.
One tree?
How it tastes.
One tree. One tree there. One plant. One plant.
That's what she looks like inside.
Seeds.
It's got a lot of seeds. Alright, let you know how she tastes.
Papaya.
Good. Sweet. Floral.
I need to plant.
It's good. Really good. Yum, yum, yum. have to say this shake is much better than I thought it would be. It's still a little bit firm inside, but you get the ice going. Half of bananas. Some sugar cane. Wow. Amazing. This is awesome.